Sweet. I'm so psyched. Finally got my return to Innistrad pre-constructed commander decks. So psyched for this. Oh, what do we got? You're an old buddy. You're gonna have to wait. I got some pre-con upgrades to do. We're gonna be all over these vampires and werewolves. Alright. What do you got her first? Zombies! Sweet. I'm always down for more zombies. I'm sure there's plenty of lords in here and all sorts of other fun stuff. I'm really looking forward to that one. What else do we got? Humans? Why humans? Could we've done humans in like any other set? Any other plane? Where were my vampires? Where's... Where's... I could have gotten skeletons or... You know, maybe... something. Why humans? We're going back to Kamigawa pretty soon. Why can't we do humans then? Oh well. I'm sure there's some pretty good stuff in here too, anyway. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Commander Tribe Elder. I was asked by a friend to do a sort of prediction video and I thought it'd be fun, but I was still in the middle of a huge project I was doing. But I figured I'd go over some of the things that I thought would have been nice to see from the Midnight Haunt set. And kind of from the intro, I hope that you kind of picked up on something. We were told that this was going to be a zombie, or we were initially told it was just going to be werewolves and vampires. I knew they were going to throw in zombies. Could you go back to Innistrad and not throw in zombies? That'd be like going to Kamigawa and not putting in samurais and ninjas. So, but yeah, I was kind of a little this one, yeah, displeased that they just did humans. That wasn't a huge prediction of mine, but I mean, it seemed like they would do commander decks that would at least fit the theme of the creatures. I did have a couple things that I was right on, some things that I was wrong on, and I'm more than happy to share that with you. The first thing that I really wanted, and I was actually nailed this, was I wanted the return of Arlen Cord. I thought it'd be neat to just have her back again. She got a Planeswalker in the original Innistrad set, I believe. I think they did something else with her. I could be a little wrong on that. Let me get all this other stuff out of the way. These, if you didn't pick up the precons, definitely pick them up. They're still pretty fun. They're worth a lot in just reprint value. There were some real interesting cards in there. I thumbed through them, and the Rooftop Storm is in the zombie deck, which is really cool. And Mikaeus, the white version, is in the human deck. I don't have one, but now I do, which is really awesome. But anyway, yeah, pick those up. Lots of fun. She's not super spectacular. Arlen the Pack's Hope. It's 2 and a red and a green for Planeswalker. I'll explain the Daybound thing later. And you can pay 1 loyalty, and until your next turn, you may cast creature spells as though they had flash, and each creature you control enters the battlefield with an initial +1/+1 counter on it. -3 her to create 2 green wolf creature tokens, and she starts with 4 loyalty. When she flips, pay 2 plus loyalty, and you add a green and a red for 0. Until the end of the turn, she becomes a 5/5 werewolf creature with trample, indestructible, and haste. It's kind of cool to see that, where we've seen it a lot with Gideon, where he turns into a creature that's indestructible. I believe Sorkin, the dragon planeswalker, did this, and at least one of his iterations. It's kind of cool to see it again on a creature, on a character that I actually like. Sarkin's okay. I love the art on this. This is one of the few where I liked the art for the original more than the special art, which the special art in this set is just off the wall. Let's see if I could grab a couple examples. Ah, here we go. Here's one. The Gisa. I love it. It's really cool. There's another one. That's the Human Knight. Just really cool art. I did not like it on Arlen. I was going to pick it up, but it was $17, and it's like, I'm not going to pay $17 for a card I'm not going to put into a deck. If you want to see it, it's on this thing called the internet. Go check it out. The second thing that I really, really, really wanted from the next Innistrad set was a really good Werewolf Commander, since we went through 2 sets of Innistrad and we're denied this. And I think they actually did a really good job with this one. It's Tovalar, Dire Overlord. It's 1 red and a green, so it comes out really quick. It's a 3/3 human werewolf. Whenever a werewolf you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you controlled 3 or more werewolves or wolves, it becomes night, which that's something we're going to have to just go over here in a second. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more werewolves, and it does have daybound. Also, if it at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more wolves or werewolves, it becomes night. Transform any number of human werewolves you control. So it does give you the flexibility of transforming your werewolves on your terms, as opposed to dealing with this shenaniganry of skipping basically a whole turn. When he flips over, he's a 4/4. Whenever a wolf or werewolf you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. And then he basically has Kessig Wolf Run attached to him. You pay X red and a green. Target wolf or werewolf you control gets +X/+0 and gains trample until the end of the turn. And then has the Nightbound thing. So yeah, I mean, it controls your werewolf flipping. It has a draw mechanic, and it has Kessig Wolf Run on it. I think this is exactly what we've been wanting ever since werewolves was a thing. I don't have any complaints about this, really. It drops soon. Like, it's just really, really good. If I were to say anything that's wrong with it, is that there were black werewolves in the set, and he's not black, so you can't use him in your commander deck. And that's a real shame. It kind of, I expected them to eventually do black werewolves, because if I remember right, the first one was kind of weird. And it came out a long time ago, and they did this weird thing on the card where it was like mid-transformation, and it was just a goofy thing. I don't even remember the name of the card, or else I would have at least looked it up and shown a picture. But yeah, they attempted werewolves, and it just didn't work. And the flip mechanic works a little bit better, and it's nice that we have a good commander now to go with it. I just wish he was black also, so that we could use some of the new black werewolves from this set. The other thing that I really wanted from this set was unique abilities that made vampires, werewolves, and zombies kind of stand apart from each other. They sort of did this with werewolves. Again, this is going to be another prediction thing. I think you know where I'm going with this. Vampires didn't really impress me too much. What they did to zombies was kind of weird. And they made, basically anything that's created a zombie token up to this point has been basically, it's a 2/2. Sometimes it comes into play tapped, like Army of the Damned. It creates 13 2/2 zombie creatures that come to the battlefield tapped, and then you're fine after that. I get the flavor with these. it's just a mindless army kind of coming at you, and they've trudged along, I guess, and they're starting to fall to pieces. But they have the 2/2 zombie tokens that are created in this set have an ability called Decayed, which it's really a disability. They can't block, and when it attacks, sacrifice it at the end of combat. The sacrificing kind of doesn't really bother me that much, but I would love to have been able to block with them. So it feels weird. Like, why did you nerf a token? Was it necessary? Was a 2/2 too powerful? I'm not sure what they're thinking on this. So that's the major thing that stood apart for the zombies for me. Like I said, vampires, I really couldn't key in on anything that was like, okay, yeah, this is a uniform ability throughout all of vampiredom. And werewolves are being werewolves. Some of them are cool. I think we picked up a lord or two, which is really nice. The more anthem effects that we can get out there for, some of these is nice, especially when, especially your commander's just a 4/4. That's not going to last too long in a commander game. You're going to get out attrition fairly quickly. The other thing that I predicted is that, as far as I knew, this was going to concentrate mostly on vampires and werewolves. I figured that's where we're going to go with our Commander Precon products. That did not happen. I'm actually happy that these kind of came out, but I was still wrong. Like I said, there's some really good cards in here. It has one of the higher value for the reprints. But I still think it would have been nice to have been on flavor with those. And my last prediction was that they were going to fix vampire transformation. And they did! Kind of. So, as is on Arlen and is on Tovalar, it's printed as Daybound and Nightbound. And they gave us a nice little card that explains to you what Daybound Nightbound does. So, day. If it becomes day, and this, it's kind of like, and I kind of wish that they'd done this almost, but it's kind of like Ascend? City's Blessing. It's kind of like City's Blessing. Like, once the condition occurs, then you track it throughout the rest of the game, and then, except this will actually switch between day and night. So, if it becomes day or night, or if Daybound permanent enters the battlefield, track day, night for the rest of the game. As it becomes day, transform all Nightbound permanents. So, from what I've heard, is if you have it at night and you cast a creature like Tovalar and it's nighttime, he will actually enter in on his Nightbound side, so it'll coincide with night, which is a little weird for me, but whatever. I'm not going to get too bogged down in rules on this one, if I do at all. I'm not good with some of the new rules, but I try to figure them out and muddle through them as I can. In any case, if a player casts no spells during their own turn, it becomes nighttime, or it becomes night next turn. So if you cast no spells, then on your opponent's next turn, it'll become nighttime. Daytime, nighttime. And then it's the same condition that we had from back in the other set. If a player casts at least 2 spells during their own turn, it becomes day the next turn. I like that they streamline this a tiny bit. I don't like that some of the old cards no longer work. There's a YouTube channel whose initials are CZ. They kind of explain it. I'm not going to go into that right now. But some of the old transform cards don't work, which is a drag. And I was really hoping that they would actually just change it. There's an old card called Title Influence. And basically, I believe it's a blue card. It's an enchantment. It says, when it enters the battlefield, put a tide counter on it. And then during your upkeep, you put a tide counter on it. If there's one tide counter on it, then all your creatures get +2/+0. I could be a little wrong on how many counters it takes. But then the flip side is when it gets so many counters, then they get -2/-0. And then when it reaches 4, then you take all counters off. So basically, half the game you're at -2/-0, and the other half of the game you're at +2/+0. I think that would have been an interesting way to do daytime, nighttime. Have it the same kind of way, but when it enters the battlefield, you put a moon token on it or something. And if it has 1 or 2 moon tokens on it, then it's daytime. And your creatures are on the daytime side. And then during your upkeep, you put the tokens on, and then when it has 3 or 4, then it becomes nighttime. And what this allows you to do, especially with a commander that comes in so soon, is you could get your commander out turn 2, it becomes daytime, you're at daytime on turn 2, turn 3 you're at daytime, turn 4 it becomes nighttime, turn 5 it stays nighttime, and then all the counters will get removed. And that's kind of like turn 4 and 5 is where you would be pushing your attack. You would be starting to churn things out. And then the next 2 turns, turns 6 and 7, are going to be turns where you're going to have to hold back. And then turns 8 and 9 are going to be turns when you're literally going to be trying to close out the game. So it would have a nice synergy with your commander. It'd be a nice synergy with all the werewolves. And I would just go ahead and say, you know what? All previous vampires, all previous human werewolves haven't been errated to fit this because they have not been yet errated. And I think that's a mistake, because it is causing confusion. And then we could say to those cards, I think Moon Mist is one of them that doesn't work anymore. We could say on Moon Mist, it's been errated too, where it just says, it turns into nighttime and all your humans and werewolves transform. I'm not 100% on this, but I think the way this is written might actually screw with werewolves that are also Eldrazi, that you flip by paying for them. I'm not 100% on that. But I kind of was like looking at that like, whoa, wait a second. I would have to check it out and do some research on that, but I'm not 100% on it. In any case, the regular werewolves that are humans also could have this errata on them. We've gotten used to it. It would just be something that we see and we know. It'd just be as simple as like when Goblin King and Lord of Atlantis turned from Summon Lord to Summon Merfolk or Goblin. We would just eventually get used to it. It's not an issue. But yeah, that was pretty much what I wanted from Midnight Hunt. It was a little disappointing that we didn't get a Werewolf Commander deck. We have beautiful box art with werewolves on it. And, it's called Midnight Hunt, or Hunt, excuse me, implying the werewolves are going to come and hunt you. So it was a little bit of a drag to not get a pre-con that was a werewolf deck. I did want to show some cool cards that I thought were really neat. The first one, and I just love the name of this, it's the Hostile. It's a land. You pay 1, tap, sacrifice a creature, put a soul counter on Hostile. Then if there are 3 or more counters on it, remove these counters, transform it, untap it, activate only as a sorcery, and it becomes a 3/7. It's the Creeping In. Whenever it attacks, you may exile a creature card from your graveyard. If you do, each opponent loses X life, and you gain X life, where X is the number of creature cards exiled with Creeping In, and you can phase this out. I thought this was just great. It seemed like it was a callback to one of the split card transformations that was like the town thing, where it was the building that was coming after you. I thought that was really cool. Tristadictophile. This is just a callback to Tristadecaphobia, so I thought that was interesting. It's cheap. You have no hand size. It's 1 in a blue. It's a 3/1 critter. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have exactly 13 cards in your hand, you win the game. So it kind of rewards you for being draw crazy. We did get some nice support for the humans. I thought protection from werewolves was really cute. There's some really good cards in the precon for humans as well. So, I was not able to do a prediction video for Midnight Haunt, but I wanted to throw out 5 quick ones for what I want from Innistrad Crimson Vow, because I guess this is going to be a second part to Midnight Haunt, which is about darn time, because I'm getting real sick and tired of leaving a plain one set. Like, I would have totally done another Ikoria set, would have totally done another, whatever the Grim Fairy Tale one was called. You know, the one set and then switching out new mechanics and stuff is just real tiring. So, what we know from Innistrad Crimson Vow is that it is going to concentrate on vampires specifically, and Olivia is getting married. We know this because of this. If you read the Oracle text, it says, "And you were almost finished with that ritual, weren't you, darling? How very rude of me. To make it up to you, I'll send you an invitation to my wedding." So, I'm going to go ahead and make, I guess this is like a 3-in-1. I think a few things on this. First of all, we have one card from the entire set saying anything about this wedding. And she's not in this set. I think they've given us a small hint with this, because this card also is in this set. And that's Avacyn's Memorial. All we really need to know is that Avacyn has some sort of function here, possibly. I think this is a hint. We might be seeing Avacyn again as well, which means will we be seeing Sorin as well? Is Olivia going to marry Sorin? Who knows? So that's kind of my prediction for that one. That we'll see Avacyn as well. We'll see Sorin as well. And Olivia is potentially getting married to Sorin. She could be getting married to somebody else, but I don't know. In any case. The next thing I would like to see from this, and I'm kind of stealing this from another YouTuber. It's not his prediction, but it's his style. I'm going to call it abilities that I think we're going to see a lot of. And that's Mill and Curses. We've kind of seen them in this set. I think there's like 9 in this one set, 11 in the original Innistrad set. I think we're going to see a push on Curses. Also, this is a good place for Mill, because I think a lot of cards that had Mill were really good in the original Innistrad set. Third prediction, and I'm going to break some necks at WotC if it doesn't happen. That's not a threat, I'm just kidding. I have nothing to do with it, no control over it. But I would love to see a werewolf precon and a vampire precon. I think that's fair. As far as particular stuff in there, God, I couldn't imagine. It would be interesting if the vampire one was maybe themed towards Olivia's wedding. And this is kind of coinciding with my 4th prediction, is that maybe the werewolves are going to, and I don't really keep up on the lore at all. I don't read the books anymore. I stopped reading the books at Lorwyn. That was ages ago. I think the werewolves are going to party crash her wedding. I'm calling it out now. I'm throwing it out there. I think the werewolves are going to party crash the wedding. I think the Commander Precon is going to be vampire wedding between Olivia and her bride. That's wrong. Her fiance, whoever the hell it is. And then the werewolf deck is going to be in direct opposition to that deck in some way, and it's going to maybe have our 3-color, or at least black, Werewolf Commander. And he was going to be even better than this one somehow. So that's predictions 3 and 4. I want to make a 5th prediction. This one's kind of going out there as well. I think somebody's going to get turned. What do I mean by that? I mean turned. Sort of like this. In the original Innistrad, Yaruk, however you pronounce it. I don't know if he got bitten or what the deal was. Like I said, I don't really keep up on the lore. But he's Veil Cursed. His flip side is a black card, right? He's always been green. There's always talk about him being cursed. I don't know if he maintained more of his humanity just because he's a planeswalker or what the deal was. But I think this is going to happen to somebody in the next set. I think it's not going to be Garruk. Possible people. I know in Kamigawa, Urza and Matilis, his brother, however you pronounce his name, are going to be at it. So I don't think it's going to be either of them. I think it might be one of the other planeswalkers. So maybe Jace. Maybe Olivia gets turned again because now she's, quote, Professor Onyx. I mean, there's several people that it could be. And you know what might happen? I know that they did this with the reverse with the Tristodectophobia. And they turned Tristodectophile into a win card. So maybe they switch it. And maybe somebody that's bad gets turned good. Or, you know, somebody that's undead becomes not dead and they're alive again. I don't know. I think something along those lines is going to happen to one of the main characters. It'd be interesting to find out. So, I guess just wrapping up, what were some of the things that you were disappointed about with Midnight Hunt? What were some of the things that you liked? And what are some of the things that you want to see in Crimson Vow? So, and that actually comes out November 19th, the Crimson Vow. So we'll find out then. Until next time, we'll catch you later. Oh, side note, I do have a Grimgrin deck that I built coming out probably next video I do. So look out for that. Until then, we'll see you next time.